In this lesson, we'll be factoring quadratics without using visuals. And so sometimes since quadratics have, or they always have an x squared term, but sometimes they're abbreviated using this following equation, ax squared plus bx plus c. So all that means is that the number, the coefficient in front of the x squared term, that's going to be your a, right? The number that's in front of the x, is going to be your b. Then the number that's by itself will be the c, right? So if we have x squared plus 5x plus 6, we could say there's a 1 in front of the x. We could say that a is 1, the b is 5 in front of the x, and then the c is the number by itself, 6. Okay, so these steps are very procedural on how we do this without the visuals. And remember, you're not expected to memorize these steps. You're expected to know how to follow them and know how to use them. Okay, and so like I said, this is very procedural, but after a couple, you guys will get the hang of it. So the first thing that we need to do in order to factor this is we need to find two numbers, okay, that will add up to b. Okay, the middle number, so the middle number of b is 5. So we need two numbers that are going to add to the number 5 and that multiply to whatever a multiply c is. Okay, so let's find a times c first. A times c is 1 times 6. So we need two numbers that also multiply to become 6. So try to think of those two numbers. It's the same two numbers that will add up to 5 and multiply to 6. And so those numbers are going to be 3 and 2. Sorry, let me get black. So you get 3 and 2, because 3 plus 2 is 5. And 3 multiplied 2 is 6. And so what we do with that 3 and 2, okay, is we separate this middle term, this 5x, using the 3 and 2. Okay, so instead of this 5x, the first step is x squared plus 3x plus 2x plus 6, right? So I use that 3 and 2 instead of the 5, right, because 3 plus 2 is 5. We're just rewriting how it looks, so we're kind of unsimplifying them. We're kind of like uncombining like terms in that step. And so that is step A and B. And then, so we've done this, now we need to factor twice. Okay, and so we factor half of the equation individually. So we're going to factor those two, and then we're also going to factor these two, right? And so this is where we want to use the shortcut. So we'll find the GCF of x squared plus 3x. So x squared is x times x, 3x is 3 times x. So they both have x in there. So that means the GCF of the yellow portion is x. And so remember that x goes in front. And then we have whatever's left over, x times x, which also comes from here, plus x times 3, which is 3x, which also comes from down here. And then we factor what's in green. So we find the GCF of 2x and 6. We find the GCF of 2x and 6 is 2. So they both have 2. So once again, that number is out front. And then we have what's left over. 2 multiply x is 2x. 2 multiply 3 also comes from down there is 6. So that was step C. And so what you should have here, when you get to this step, you should have these terms, what's in the parentheses, matching. Okay, and so this is the one step that is a little weird, and we will, in the next couple of days, we'll go over like why the step actually works the way it does. Okay, but for right now, I'll do my best to explain like why this is. But we have to factor out these parentheses terms now. So it's like the opposite of distribution again. So we're going to take this x plus 3, both of them. We're going to move those out front, and so that x plus 3 stays as x plus 3. And then what's on the other side is whatever is left over, this x and this plus 2. So you have x plus 2. So there is our factored form. And like I said, it is pretty procedural, but you really do get the hang of it after doing it a couple times. It's the same thing over and over. All right, so let's factor x squared plus 4x plus 3. So we need to find two numbers that add up to the middle number. The middle number is 4. A is 1, B is 4, C is 3, so B is 4. A times C, 1 times 3 is 3, so we need to find two numbers that add up to 4 and multiply to 3. Those two numbers are 3 and 1. So we have to separate that middle term using the 3 and 1. So instead of x squared plus 4x plus 3, we get x squared plus 1x plus 3x plus 3. So we have unsimplified it. Now, from here, we want to factor twice. And so we're going to factor the first half, then we'll factor the second half. We find the GCF of x squared and 1x. We find the GCF of 3x and 3. We find that the GCF of the first one is x. And then what's left over? X plus 1. And then the GCF of these was 3. Then we have x plus 1, what is also left over. And then we do that last weird step where we factor out this x plus 1 in front, which gives us x plus 1. And then this x plus 3 is left over, giving us our final answer. Let's try one more. We want to find two numbers that add up to b and multiply to a times c. So a is 1, b is 8, c is 12. And so we want to find two numbers that add up to 8, the middle number, multiply to 1 times 12, which is 12. And these two numbers are going to be 6 and 2, because 6 plus 2 is 8. 6 multiplied 2 is 12. So we separate the 8x into 6x plus 2x. We find the GCF of the first half terms, and then the second half of the terms. We find that the GCF is x. We have x plus 6 left over. And then we have the GCF of these two, which is 2. We have x plus 6 left over. And then we take that x plus 6 out front, giving us x plus 6 times x plus 2. Thank you for listening.